A performer at a drag queen story hour started receiving death threats, and even the animal shelter that was the site of one of these events apparently is receiving death threats. That is the America we're living in. So this is an Alabama middle school teacher who also reads stories in drag to both dogs and kids at a nonprofit animal shelter. Was targeted by, what do you know, libs of TikTok, which had absolutely nothing better to do. And so as a result of this, the school has suspended the educator. The animal rescue organization is now seeking FBI protection because of the rampant death threats. That is what libs of TikTok was able to produce with their advocacy. Someone has been canceled, something that libs of TikTok, of course, would say that they're against. And now people working in an animal shelter are worried that they might be killed at any time. So James Miller has been a drag queen for 22 years, 27 years as a teacher. And apparently the fact that James Miller is both of those things has for more than a couple of decades never been a problem, but we live in an absolute hell time. So it is now a problem. And back in September, when James Miller performed for this drag queen storytime event, it got picked up. You can see one of the tweets that was sent by libs of TikTok. Apparently they didn't like they're saying one of the comments that James Miller said. I would assume that the fact that James exists is more of the core problem. But they didn't like one of the things that James said. Now, James says that while occasionally there might be like a risque comment, they pointed out specifically the hypocrisy between the standards that are put on drag queen story hour performers. And for instance, like every kids movie, like Michael, you have a kid, you've seen these movies. They constantly have humor that's designed for the adults watching it that they think the kids won't get.
Right.
Including sexual references, not explicit necessarily, but that's not new.
No, you have to have something to keep you interested when you're sitting in the theater.
Yeah, exactly. And so look, the dog shelter CEO Lisa Maassen put out a statement about what they're experiencing, saying we are doing nothing wrong. We have no shame for what we do. We fully support the message. We say all the time, we would rather be excluded for who we include than be included for who we exclude. And that will be our statement every day going forward.
Bravo.
Considering
awesome.
It's a great statement.
Yeah.
This is a person who runs a nonprofit dog shelter, which I would hardly cite as one of the elites of society. You know, the powerful establishment. They're just desperately trying to keep dogs from needlessly dying. That's all that they're doing. And now on top of that, they have to worry about violent threats. They have to worry about mobs of Proud Boys picketing outside of them.
Right. You don't hear like a lot of legislation being pushed by big dog shelter, right? I mean, these are not the powerful, influential segments of our society. So bravo to her for that response. That was a great response.
Exactly. If Big Dog Shelter had a lobbyist, it would almost certainly be Clifford. I would have to guess.
I would imagine, yes.
But anyway, by the way, if we find any risque comments in a Clifford, we're gonna lose our minds. Okay, hope that James isn't the actual target of actual violence. That's all that we can hope for at this point, is that they don't murder a storyteller because of their identity. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.